Hi, this is Dr. Julie Gilbert, and I'm joined by Rachel Matthews. Hi, Rachel. Happy New Year.
Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy
Yeah.
2023. Here we are.
Yes, this is our first live stream since the new year because I spaced totally last week or whatever. But anyway, here we are.
Yep.
And we're getting used to our new time on Thursdays around noon, trying to do it right in there at noon. And so, yeah, we're looking forward to the new year and all that it has for our health and wellness and sharing that with you. So I'm going to start with a little bit of an apology. I had a cup of caffeinated coffee after my usual 16 ounces. And I don't know, I got distracted while I was making the coffee and I chose caffeine instead of decaffeinated. And so I'm kind of bouncing up the wall right now. So
energy.
Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't affect my sleep later.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, speaking of sleep, we are talking about sleep and we're continuing our conversation in this great book by Shawn Stevenson, Sleep Smarter. And Rachel, where did we leave off?
Okay. We left off with chapter 12. And this chapter is all about getting your friends out of your room.
Yeah.
So what does he mean by friends? What are we doing
here?
Well,
when I read that, I thought it meant getting your pets out of your room.
I thought so too.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, Rachel, I love my pets. And I know people there can do a lot as for us mentally, emotionally, and actually physically, because when we have a dog, we walk the dog, right? And it does. So actually, the patients come in here, pet my dog, their blood pressure goes down this much, so a lot for us. But in the bedroom, it can be a sleep disruption.
Yeah. And, I don't think he talks about that in this book. I can't remember.
It wasn't that it was. So that's not what he was talking about. But that came to my mind.
Yeah, it is. It begs, it's worth discussing since we're on this chapter that time and time again, I hear people talking about their sleep and they're saying things like, well, but I sleep with my two big dogs and they're up, multiple times in the night. And I'm wondering why I'm not refreshed in the morning. And at some point, we had to kick we have a little wiener dog and bless his heart, he's wonderful and he's tiny, but he rolls over. He's a restless sleeper. And every time he rolls over, he would wake me up. Not my husband, of course, because he sleeps like the dead, but he would wake me up. So I kicked the wiener dog out, and he's probably happier for it because he has his own little cushy, soft bed with lots of blankets.
Yeah.
And he's outside of our bedroom now. And it's made all the difference with my sleep.
All the difference. Right.
Yeah. You really got to think about that.
Yeah. Not only that, my beautiful black dog slept on my white carpet and then left this
pile
shadow.
Yeah.
It's like, are you still there, Maisie? No, but anyway, and we had to, so once I got my carpets cleaned, dog was out of the room. I wasn't, anyway, so but that's not what he's talking about. You were going to say something else.
Just really quick. It's important to point out that even if your dogs don't sleep with you or they don't roll over and wake you up, the noises that they make in the nighttime can also be disruptive and disrupt you and bring you to a lighter state of sleep, if not totally wake you up. So if they roll over or they have a collar and it makes sounds or they bark in the night. So just something to really think about.
Right. Yeah, I like that. And also in training the dog, that the dog doesn't have to go outside and relieve itself at 3:00 in the morning. They just don't. They can be trained not to do that. But anyway, okay, that's not what he was talking about, but it's very important. But what he was talking about.
Yes, what he is talking about is electronics. And specifically, he's really pointing to radiation, Wi-Fi, the signals and the waves that are going on. So this was a new thing for me. I'd never really thought of electronics from this angle. It's one thing to have your phone beeping during the night and waking you up, but he's really talking about some of the other sciencey things I don't understand.
Right. Electromagnetic waves. Yeah, that interact with our bodies in ways that disrupt sleep.
Right. So the radiation from our phones, the Wi-Fi signal from your Wi-Fi router, a lot of people keep those in their rooms. I know I did. And after reading this chapter, we moved our Wi-Fi router to a different area of the room. And he really recommends, so his first tip, use an alarm clock to wake up instead of your cell phone. So can you go to sleep with your cell phone in your bathroom or in the kitchen, right?
Right. more than 6 feet away is what he
More
points
than
out.
6 feet away.
Yeah, right. Hmm.
So certainly you could put it across the room and the alarm could still go off and you could go get it. But you could also just get an old-fashioned alarm clock
Right, right.
by your bedside table.
Yeah,
So,
right.
so how is it going for you trying to move things 6 feet away
Mhm.
from you in your room?
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I'm not either.
No, not gonna lie, not there yet.
Mhm.
You know, I think part of this is my deeply ingrained habit of being on call and
Yeah.
then feeling like I have to be there all the time for the, you know, for my work.
Yeah.
And now it's not that way anymore. So I have to tell myself my new story, which
Ah,
is I don't have to be available 24/7. And if there's a true emergency, there's a way to get a hold of me. And I am going to hear that phone ring. And the phone doesn't, you know, I can still hear the phone ring
yeah.
when it's outside the room. So,
Right.
so I have to tell myself that new story.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's a great point of reprogramming
Mhm.
a long held lifestyle,
Mhm.
and you're trying to calm some anxiety, right?
Right.
Some of the inner words there,
Yes,
and
that's right.
and
Mhm.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, calming that those, you know,
Mhm,
what if I miss? What if I wake up too late? What if I, yeah.
mhm.
So, no, the truth is, I have to tell myself the truth. When's the last time I didn't wake up to an alarm? Um, Never. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it just hasn't happened to me. Doesn't mean it won't, but it probably. And what would happen if I didn't wake up to an alarm? Okay, well, I would be human
Mhm.
and I would just go with it and do the next right thing.
Right,
So it's not the end of the world. In
right,
otherwise, yeah.
right.
Mhm. So
Well, maybe, as a start, I'm even thinking as you're talking through this, I'm like, yeah, maybe for me to start, I would put my phone over on my dresser. That's like
mm,
3 feet away. So I could kind
right,
of like lean over in bed, right? And when I'm done doing my meditation app, I can lean over because that's
Mhm.
the other thing. People use their phones for
Right.
meditative apps or for,
Yes, yeah,
maybe they're reading a book on their
right,
phone. So some of those habits are tricky, but I could at least right before I go to sleep, I could lean over and place it on my dresser. So at
right.
least it's 3 to 5 feet away, and maybe I
Mhm.
can inch myself and wean myself off of
Mhm.
having a habit so close.
Right. Great. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. My husband would love this idea because he hates the phone in the room. He hates it.
Okay.
So, and when we are doing so we're creating phase 2 of my home office, which is going to be environmentally friendly room, and part
Ooh,
of it is going to incorporate these measures to cut down on electromagnetic waves,
right.
you know, that we're getting. So I know there's paint that does that. Yeah, there's like no Wi-Fi, you know, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So anyway, I'm going to be learning more about this and maybe can speak to it better as the year progresses. So that's on my big hairy audacious goal list for the
Awesome.
year. Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
exciting.
yeah,
Yeah.
making an environmentally friendly room. So, but the first tiny little part of that is moving that phone maybe
Uh,
3 feet away, and then the 6 feet, and then out of that. It's
yeah,
out of that.
get it out of there. Right. And so he talks about all the electronics really. So you're
Right.
talking about Wi-Fi, you're talking about gosh, and if you have, I don't know if this pertains to smart bulbs like light bulbs, smart,
Hmm.
uh, I don't know. That would be something
Yeah.
worth to look into.
Like
But if
the red lights.
yeah,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Less
we can
blue,
do.
lot less blue light in the room. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. All right. This is awesome. Okay. Well, yeah, so I think those are great power tips, and that's a great place to start.
Mhm.
And yeah, so far, I'm going to summarize some of the things that we've done.
Yeah.
We've opened the window,
Yes.
letting fresh air,
Of
even
course.
when it's 32 degrees outside. It's not bad at all. It's not. We don't
Yeah. A
open it all the way, just a crack.
little
Yeah,
bit.
we're keeping that room cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're sleeping in cool sheets. We used to do like flannels. I don't do flannel sheets anymore.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And the fan is moving the air. So
Mhm.
we removed the television out of the room.
Right.
Yay. We're setting a schedule for our bedtime to go to
Mhm.
bed at the same time every night, get up the same time every morning. And now the next step for us in this process of improving our sleep hygiene is moving the phones farther away.
The phones. Getting that Wi-Fi and the phones out of the room if at all possible, or at least further away.
Further away. That's right.
Okay.
All right. This has been great conversation, Rachel, and always appreciate your input and your insights and your just positive attitude to say, yep, we can make these small changes. It's doable. It's doable. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to meet again next week, but until then, tell us what you have what's on the plate for dinner tonight.
Ooh, for dinner, I'm making a new recipe. It's a fried rice with kimchi.
Ooh.
And so it's not really fried and it's not really rice. It's cauliflower rice. So
cauliflower, yeah, I love it. Yeah,
it's rice, cauliflower, broccoli, green onions, and kimchi. And so I'm trying to learn better ways to incorporate fermented foods that are not my favorite, like kimchi, but in a way that's more palatable. So
yay, good for you. New recipe, new year, new recipes, and incorporating those fermented foods that are beautiful for our gut health. That's great.
How about you?
My husband's away doing mercy on a mission of mercy, but my son is here and he loves to cook, and he is doing in the slow cooker some grass-fed finished beef on the bone, low and slow, so we're not denaturing proteins, and we're going to still get those amino acids and those other minerals, magnesium, phosphorus, calcium, in a way that our body will incorporate better. And then I always will throw together. So he's going to do meat. I'm going to do the vegetable. And, it's going to have those five colors. Yep. And it's going to be half the plate and just, this nice little side serving of the beef. So that's what we're doing for dinner.
Yeah. Sounds so good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much again, Rachel, and you have a great rest of your day, and healthy new year to everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.